Good morning, 49ers coaches. Thank you so much for coming to this week's quality control session. I really enjoy these little meetings between the five of us. It's a real intimate, private gathering where we can air things out and talk candidly. Fans and players don't have to hear what's really going on. And we can fix things, get to the heart of the matter. As you notice, I'm not wearing my typical suit and tie today, because today I'm addressing you as the 49ers quality control coach. And now I have my official quality control jacket, as you can see, 49ers quality control. And you may be wondering, how did you get that? Well, by doing a phenomenal job this season. I have to say, I graded out. PFF gives out quality control grades, and mine was 113.9. It was off the charts. And so you guys stunk, but I was really good. So I get a jacket. You guys get a set of steak knives. And if you have another season like this one next year, you're fired. So we need to talk candidly and figure out how we're going to get through the rest of the season and what's the plan for the offseason, because I'm set. I got a jacket. I have job security. I'm great. You guys, I can't say that for you. So you're going to have to listen to what I'm saying and take notes. Really write this down, because this is going to save your job. So let's start talking about, I want to talk to you. I'm going to address each of you directly and individually, one by one. So John, I'm going to get to you. Kyle, I'm going to get to you. Robert, I'm going to get to you. But first, I want to start with some of your underlings, starting with the quarterback coach, Shane Day. I want to talk to you, Shane. Shane, you've had a really tough job this season. Your starting quarterback got hurt right away. Nick Mullins came in, not the most physically gifted quarterback of all time. No pass protection. Things got really bad. So now you got 2 games left, and you have to prepare CJ Beathard to finish the season out. So your job isn't over. You still need to do a good job, Shane. What is your objective with CJ? What are you trying to emphasize for him the next 2 weeks to get him through this stretch of the season that doesn't matter? Well, you don't know, so I'm going to tell you. First of all, you want to work with him on handing the ball off. He needs to be perfect with his handoffs. I'm talking right hand, left hand, maybe a little spin before he does it. Ones where he has to really get out there and give it to him on the outside runs, draws. Every different kind of handoff I want you practicing with CJ Beathard. The next 2 weeks, he is the handoff master of Santa Clara. I want this guy handing the ball off to every person he sees at the facility. Hey, how you doing, man? Here's the ball. Hey, good to see you. Here's the ball right in your stomach. CJ, that's what you're working on with him, handoffs. Because last year, I really feel one of the underrated reasons that the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl is because Jimmy Garoppolo was just so great handing that sucker off. I mean, it was uncanny how well he could just take a ball and hold it and then extend it and put it in someone's arms. He was great. I've never seen anything like it. And I think that was the Shane Day effect. So now you need to impart that onto CJ Beathard. And then there's another thing, because he can't hand off every play, although he needs to hand off like 2/3 of them. So what is the other coaching point for CJ Beathard? I want you guys to really take a good look at this jacket, because it's the nicest jacket you've ever seen. What is the next coaching point for CJ Beathard? Hand off. And then when you do have to drop back, I would say, you could work with him on his footwork, although he's had 4 years in the league to work on that. It's not that great. You could work with him on, field vision or accuracy, throwing downfield, all that stuff. But it's ridiculous because he's terrible. And Shane, you know it. And not just that, the offensive line stinks too. So anytime your head coach calls a pass, something bad's going to happen. It's either going to be the quarterback or the right tackle or the center or the right guard, or someone is going to mess it up. So what you want to do is teach CJ the fetal position, right? Like the 3-step drop is important. The 5-step drop is good. Being able to reset your feet in the pocket is nice. But I think for CJ, the most important technique is the fetal position. That's where you drop to the ground and you raise your knees up to your chest and you hold yourself the way you were positioned in the womb. It's a very comforting position. It's secure. You can suck your thumb. It really brings you back to childhood. And I think that's the comfort that CJ Beathard is going to need in this game, because he's not going to have the comfort of a pocket or a coach who has his best interest at heart. He's not going to have the comfort of a great run game that the Niners are committed to. So I think in this game, we want fetal position CJ mixed in with handoff CJ. And if you can mix in those two elements of your offense, I think you could actually, for change, not lose the game with your quarterback, which is a crazy concept. So fetal position, handoffs, don't lose the game with CJ Beathard. I think you got something there. So I'm not done with you though, Shane. Let's stick with this. Now you got a new quarterback. All right. His name is Josh Rosen. You know Josh Rosen. He's been a big deal since he was about 14. He's a 5-star recruit since he was in middle school. Can really throw a ball. Went to UCLA. Didn't play that well, but he had 3 different OCs in 3 years. Didn't have a great supporting cast. Went to Arizona. Didn't play well, but had a bad coach who got fired. Didn't have a great supporting cast. Went to Miami, didn't play well. Another first-year coach, defensive coach, maybe never really had a shot. Then he wound up on a practice squad. He's had no stability in his life in terms of coaching since high school. And now you walk in the picture, Shane. What are you going to do to help Josh Rosen have a future in the league? Because CJ has no future. CJ's the crash test dummy who's going to take the hits behind this ridiculous offensive line and get you through the end of the season that doesn't count or matter because you're out. You don't want to re-sign him next year. He's a free agent. CJ, goodbye. Thank you for everything. You're a hell of a ping pong player. Work on that, and maybe you can represent America in the Olympics because you're so good at ping pong, but not at quarterback. So you got to go. Rosen, he might be someone you might want to bring back next year on the practice squad because he can really throw. He can't move. I don't know if he can read a defense or if he has any intangibles or tangible qualities other than his ability to throw a football well, but he really can't. So my advice to you, Shane, is really teach that fetal technique well to Beathard because you don't want Rosen on the field. If Rosen has to play this season, that's bad. He'll play bad, he'll get hit, and there will be no project. You won't be able to develop Rosen because he'll be ruined. The way that Jimmy got hurt, and the way that Nick Mullins got hurt, and the way that CJ might get hurt if he doesn't really perfect the fetal technique, the fetal position. So your job, Shane, is to keep Josh Rosen off the field, and that comes back to your coaching for CJ. Conservative to the max, protect yourself, don't take hits. Rosen has some ability. He should not be playing behind this. Any quarterback who has any type of future shouldn't be playing behind this offensive line. That, I guess, includes Rosen. So Shane, it is your job to keep him off the field. Do not let Josh Rosen play. There's going to be people asking for it because CJ really stinks. And what's going to happen is it's going to dawn on Niner fans early in this game. It's like, oh yeah, it's the same CJ Beathard who lost to Josh Rosen twice in 2018. The same CJ Beathard who can't beat anyone, who beats himself. And Niner fans will be like, you know what? Bring in Rosen. I don't care. Bring in Rosen. I don't care because they remember that Rosen beat the Niners twice in 2018. Beat Beathard. And they're going to want to see something because the Niner fans have no patience, man. They want someone benched immediately. And that's going to be Beathard in about 6 quarters. So you got to make sure that, Kyle Shanahan isn't reading my Twitter feed and things like that because you can't let him make that change. If you want someone to tutor next year, you got to protect Josh Rosen. Otherwise, your quarterback room next year is going to be you and me. So, I don't know. Be careful. Let's move on. Richard Hightower. You always sit in the back. You think I'm not going to talk to you because you're special teams. We need to talk. Usually I don't talk about special teams, but special teams is killing the 49ers this season. And I don't want to blame you because you don't make executive decisions. You coach techniques and try to help players improve, but you need to do more than that. You need to go to Kyle and tell him how important it is that Brandon Ayuk returns the punts. Because what's happening is by not putting your best punt returner on special teams, and going with Richie James Jr. and Trent Taylor, you're hurting the team. What's in the best interest for the 49ers is Brandon Ayuk to return punts. The backups can't hold on to the ball. Richie James Jr. fumbled. Trent Taylor let a ball bounce at the 13. It got downed inside the 5. Trent Taylor is out there trying to, when he's not doing a fair catch, he'll do the fake fair catch where he'll go to one side of the field and hopes it bounces into the other. He's at home thinking of ways to, clever ways to commit fair catches. He's like a baseball player who's thinking of 8,000 ways to bunt. You got to get him off the field. You need to tell Kyle Shanahan how important it is for Brandon Ayuk to return the punts. If Brandon Ayuk had been the punt returner all season, who knows how many more games you'd have. Here's the thing. The team has a terrific defense. It has a terrific run game, a really bad passing game that beats itself. And if Ayuk were returning punts, every 10 yards he gets would be one first down the offense wouldn't have to get. If you play Brandon Ayuk as your punt returner every time, every game, your chances of winning would increase. And by not playing him, your chances of winning decrease. That's the only calculation you guys need to be making. Who do we play that gives us the best chance to win? When Kyle Shanahan, Kyle, I'm talking about you, but I'm talking to Richard Hightower. So yes, listen. When Kyle Shanahan explained why Nick Mullins consistently started over CJ Beathard, he said because Nick's better than CJ and gives us a better chance to win. End of story, period. Good call, Kyle. Good answer. Same thing applies to Brandon Ayuk at punt returner. He gives you your best chance to win. Put him back there. Don't mess around with guys who can't even catch the ball and have no ability to run. So, Richard, it's on you, man. Do you have any pull in this organization? Can you go to Kyle and say, Kyle, you're playing the wrong punt returner, and all of my expertise and background is telling me we need to play our rookie who is the top punt returner in the country last year in college football. What do you think? Can you do that, or do you need me to do it? I know the Niners pay me a whole lot more than they pay you, but can you do it, or do you need me to bail you out again? I think you can do it, Richard. I believe in you. Now let's talk Robert Saleh. Robert, I really commend how you're coaching this year. I'm going to get to Kyle later. You guys are doing a very different job. But you have this motivation. Kyle is set for 8 lifetimes. You're not. You have, 7 children. You're a coordinator, and you need that promotion. So you are working your butt off, and I respect it. Go for it. Problem is, Richard Sherman is sabotaging your season. And I know that you are loyal to everyone, but also to Richard Sherman for reasons. I mean, you've known him for a long time, since he was a young man, since you were a young man. You were in Seattle together. You come here. He's done good things for you. Your defense has been highly rated with him on the field. And above all else, that guy is your number one advocate. When people were saying Robert Saleh stinks, last year he was saying, no, Robert Saleh is a genius and a future head coach. And when Richard Sherman says that, everyone around the league listens. Owners, coaches, that is a great person to have in your corner as an advocate, as an agent, as a marketer. Richard Sherman says Robert Saleh is the truth. Love it. But Richard Sherman, the player, is going to ruin your chances to become a head coach. I mean, the defense is terrific. All the bad plays in this game against Dallas were Richard Sherman's fault. There were 3 missed tackles. I mean, one of his missed tackles led to a touchdown for Dalton Schultz. And then at the end of the game, after the interception, the second interception, Niners were still only down 3 points with a lot of time left. And Richard Sherman misses a tackle big time on Tony Pollard's 40-yard touchdown run. Good night. Thanks for playing. He's killing you, Robert. And when you go to owners after the season and be like, look, my defense gave up 41 points and then 30 points to Arizona and then 35 points to Seattle the last 3 weeks, but it was really good before then. And the reason it got smoked is because Richard Sherman was on the field making business decisions. Nah, it's not going to fly. No one's going to want to hear it, Robert. You got to get him off the field now. He's making business decisions. You watch the tape. Who was better against Dallas, Richard Sherman or Akello Witherspoon? It wasn't close, right? Akello. If Jason Verrett comes back, if Emmanuel Mosley's ready to play, you got to tell Richard Sherman, you're done, dude. You're done. You can't play for him anymore. You shouldn't play in the league anymore. And if he stops recommending you for head coaching positions, oh well, because at this point, what's going to get you that job is your statistics, not Richard Sherman's backing. You have that already. You got that. He's on record. He can't take that back if you bench him and gets mad at you. Sorry, Richard. Watch the tape. Be honest with yourself. You ain't got it anymore. You're done. Tell him. Otherwise, you're not going to be a head coach next year. He's gonna sabotage you. I'm telling you, man. He's going to sabotage you. Serious. If you want to get out of here, you need to get Richard Sherman out of here now. If you want to coach here next year, let Richard Sherman keep losing games for you, man. Go for it. If that's the plan, you want one more year in Santa Clara with me telling you what to do, wearing this jacket while you eat with your little set of steak knives that you got, go for it. But if you want the jacket too, bench Richard Sherman. I'm not done with you, Robert. We need more to talk about because it's not just as simple as benching Richard Sherman for you. You still need to finish this season strong. And you're going up against two offenses that shredded you earlier this year, Arizona and Seattle. Two offenses with two of the most athletically gifted quarterbacks in the world. The type of quarterbacks that you've shown that you can't really stop because your defense is about rushing with four, playing zone coverage behind it, which really is very tough on pocket passers who can't buy time. But scramblers who can run around behind the line of scrimmage, that zone coverage breaks down. And if the quarterback can hold the ball 3 seconds, 4 seconds, it becomes man-to-man coverage. Everyone has to chase people at that point, and then people are wide open. And so what you have to show, Robert, is that by week 15, you now have a strategy to effectively contain Kyler Murray in the pocket and defend DeAndre Hopkins, because you didn't have that week 1. You didn't have that strategy when you faced the Seahawks, and you failed to contain Russell Wilson, and you let DK Metcalf catch 8,000 passes for 100 million yards and 3 touchdowns. And you didn't have it when you faced Buffalo. Seriously, Josh Allen was never under pressure. All of his receivers never had anyone around him. It was like he was playing on air. And so you have great statistics and you can make a great case for why you should be a great head coach, but people are going to see, man, he doesn't really do well against mobile quarterbacks. And that's where the league is trending. More and more teams have mobile quarterbacks. Is your defense built to stop 2015 offenses? If so, that's a problem. So you need to show that you have a new plan to keep Kyler in the pocket and to take away DeAndre Hopkins somehow. Now, maybe you're saying you don't have the personnel, that your defensive linemen are too big and slow. There's nothing they can do, that you don't have the corner to match up with DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know what to tell you, man. I know you're probably right. You got to do something different. And you got to do something better. And I don't know what to tell you on that one. Other than bench Richard Sherman, play a Keller Witherspoon, stuff like that. Basically, you want to put a man lock on Hopkins the whole game. How about Akello? And then play zone around it. Basically, get Kyler Murray to throw to anyone else because he's not going to beat you throwing to anyone else. And you got to keep him in the pocket. 2 things you got to take away. Scrambles, DeAndre Hopkins. Can you do it? Supposed to be the best. I think you can do it. Now you got to talk about Kyle. Kyle, you're up. Thank you for waiting so patiently. I understand your time is precious and you're a very rich and important person, but we need to talk basics with you. I gave you a chance yesterday in the press conference. I asked you to take responsibility for this turnover issue, and you didn't. I asked you in general, do you go back and look at the turnovers and assess which ones are your fault? And you basically said, yeah, I do that for all my decisions every game. And you wouldn't address it head on. So I had to follow up and I said, okay, Kyle, what about the 4 turnovers against Dallas? Were any of those your fault? Do you look at any of those turnovers and say, yeah, that one's on me? And you said no. And then you went through all 4 and was like, hey, Richie James Jr. fumbling, that's not my fault. 3rd and 8, that's not my fault. The first pick, that's not my fault. Well, let me tell you something, Kyle. I can go through all 4 and show you how you were culpable. It's not 100% your fault, but it's at least 50% of your fault. It's at least 50% your fault each time. And before I get into each one, I'm going to. and I want you to take out your play sheet and we can go through this together. I want to just point out that while you think you're powerless to affect turnovers, you're not. You're the head coach. When Jim Harbaugh was the head coach, what he did was have a very conservative style of offense. They would play for field goals all the time. They would run the ball all the time. They didn't score a lot of points. They won a lot of games, though, because they had the dominant defense. They had the dominant run game. There was no reason to be aggressive with their passing game. And they weren't. Fans didn't like it. They won a lot of games. So here's a stat. Harbaugh's first year, 2011, inherits a quarterback, Alex Smith, who's been a turnover machine in his career up to this point. 2011, his first year there, you know how many turnovers the Niners had? 10. The whole season. 10. Not a fluke. Because the next season, 2012, 16 turnovers. Again, that's fantastic. 2013, 18 turnovers. This is a product of Jim Harbaugh's coaching, his conservative coaching style. Now, you're much more aggressive. And if you got Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, go get them. That's a lot of fun. But you don't. You don't have Debo. You don't have Kittle. You don't have a starting quarterback. You don't have a good offensive line. You got a backup quarterback and a backup offensive line, and you're going bombs away and losing games you could win with your defense. So let's go through it. Let's go through each turnover, and I'll explain to you how you're culpable. First one. Dallas's first possession of the game. Your defense forces a 3 and out. It's a hell of a defense. Dallas punts. Who returns? Richie James Jr., who fumbled a punt return against New Orleans a few weeks ago. He's done that already. And he has a sprained thumb. I didn't know that. You told me that yesterday. So you knew he was injured. You knew ball security was an issue before he sprained his thumb. That would be a bigger issue after he sprained his thumb. You let him return the punt anyway, fumble. Now you're down 7-0. That's on you. When Jim Harbaugh let Kyle Williams return punts and kicks in the NFC Championship game, that was as much Jim Harbaugh's fault as it was Kyle Williams' fault. You're the head coach. You see what these guys are doing. You make the executive decision. No, we're not putting Richie James back there. We're putting Brandon Ayuk. That one's on you. Let's move on. Next possession. The fumble on 3rd and 8. You say, you know what? Not my fault that we're in 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8's a tough down. DeMarcus Lawrence makes a great play. He's basically better than Mike McGlinchey. I got to tip my hat to DeMarcus Lawrence. And to a degree, that's true. DeMarcus Lawrence, just better than Mike McGlinchey. That's a tough matchup for McGlinchey. Mullins got the ball knocked out of his hand almost instantly. What did Mullins do wrong? You didn't blame either one of them. And you know what? I'll go with you on that. I'm blaming you, Kyle. Here's why. Why were you in 3rd and 8? It's simple why you were in 3rd and 8. You know why? Because on 2nd and 8, you called a pass. On 2nd and 8, you called a pass. I understand doing that if you have Matt Ryan, if you have a good passing offense, a good offensive line, but you don't. If you had a terrible defense and we're constantly trying to come from behind, great, throw bombs away, man, do it. But you have a good defense, a top 5 defense, a dominant run game, and you passed on 2nd and 8, and it was incomplete, and that brought on 3rd and 8. Had you run on 2nd and 8, who knows, you might have got the first down. Who knows, you might have got 6 yards. Because here's the thing, Kyle, the best play in your playbook this season, handoff to Mostert. The second best play in your playbook this season, handoff to Jeff Wilson. Third best play for you this season, shovel pass to Brandon Ayuk. Fourth best play for you this season, handoff to Kyle Juszczyk. You missed all 4 of those. You went straight to a pass with your backup quarterback, who is a turnover machine this season because he's getting his brains beaten in behind the worst offensive line in the league. That's what you did. So 3rd and 8 was your fault. It was avoidable. Run the freaking ball, Kyle. With this defense, with this run game, and that offensive line, and that quarterback, run the freaking ball. So that's 2. Now you're down 14-0, and it's your fault. You're down 14-0 against a bad team that can't stop the run because you played the wrong punt returner and you passed on 2nd and 8 against the worst run defense in the league, giving up 5 yards a carry. You're running well. You pass. Why? Harbaugh wouldn't. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So now we get into the fourth quarter, okay? 24-24. Your team has come back from the hole you created all the way back, 24-24. Then we get an interception on 3rd and 6. We asked you about it. You said, you know what? It's really not Nick's fault. He went to the right spot. He went to the right spot, and he did. I could fault your design, but that's not what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about design. I'm talking simple stuff here. What you're saying again is 3rd and 6. You got to throw. What am I going to do? I tried to call the best play I had. I got what I got. The guy made a play. What are you going to do? Tip your cap. Again, true. You don't have the personnel to really pull off 3rd and long. But why were you in 3rd and 6? Well, on 1st and 10, with 11:25 left in the fourth quarter, tie game, 24-24, you called a pass. Why? Again, that's not your best play, your second best play, your third best play, your fourth best play. Your 4 best plays are handoffs and shovel passes. Your 5th best play is some pass. And the reason it is because your offense can't execute passes. A lot has to go right. All 5 offensive linemen have to maintain their blocks, and your quarterback has to read the field correctly and make an accurate throw. That hasn't been happening very often. That's like the Haley's Comet. And you call a pass on 1st and 10. Guess what? Nick Mullins has to throw the ball away. Now you're in 2nd and 10. So Colbin runs the ball, gains 4, 3rd and 6. It's on you. Run the freaking ball. You're losing the game with your passing game. And you keep coming back to it when you don't have to. Run the ball. 1st and 10. Run the ball. Tie game. You're not down 2 scores. You're in control. Anyway, so that's number 3. And then finally, the one turnover that you blamed on your quarterback, Nick Mullins, the last one. This is with 2:51 left, 2nd and 9 at the 49-yard line, midfield. You're down 3. You should be playing for the field goal at least. Your defense is playing lights out. You're not going to win this game with your offense. You're not going to win this game you're not going to win any games with your offense this year. What you're trying to do is win the game with your defense and not lose it with your offense. So what do you do on 2nd and 9? You run the ball. No, that's not what you do. On 2nd and 9, you call a shot play, a deep pass to Kyle Juszczyk. You go ultra aggressive. Yeah, what could go wrong? Why do you put the game in Nick Mullins' hands? You should be trying to win it with your defense. So, of course, Nick Mullins throws a pick and you say, yeah, he went to the wrong spot. He should have went deep to Kyle Juszczyk. Really? On 2nd and 9 at midfield, throw a low percentage pass down the field to a fullback. That's the play. I mean, Harbaugh wouldn't have called that. He won 75% of his games here. He wouldn't have called. That's very aggressive. If you had Matt Ryan, do it, dude. You don't. You have Nick Mullins. So you call this super aggressive shot play on 2nd and 9? Run the ball. You're 15 yards away from field goal range, from tying the game. Back up. Run the ball. You throw deep, you're going for the win. You're going for the jugular. You thought that was going to work, huh? You trusted Mullins that much? I don't even trust Mullins that much. Dude. So that's how this is on you. All you got to do is be a little more conservative when you have a lead or when you're in a 1-score game. You don't have to go bombs away on 1st and 2nd down when you got your backup quarterback and Mike McGlinchey out there. All right. So that's what you're working on the rest of the season. Being more conservative. Complementary football. Win with your defense. You're not going to win with your offense. Win with your defense. Don't lose it with your offense. Win with your defense. Don't lose it with your offense. Your goal this week is to have 1 turnover. That's it. To ask you to have 0 turnovers is way too much. It's just ridiculous. But how about just 1? Not 4. Try for 1 and see what happens. Maybe your excellent defense will actually win a game for you. Maybe you'll win a game with your defense and Brandon Ayuk returning punts. And Jeff Wilson Jr. running like the hardest runner of all time. Give it a shot. See if you can prevent CJ Beathard from losing this game from you, man. Because if CJ loses the game, you lost the game. You put it in his hands. It should never have been in his hands. Let's move on. I think you get the point. Advice for Jimmy Garoppolo, read the final 2 weeks. You guys didn't realize that Jimmy Garoppolo's in the room here, but he actually is. He's sitting right in the back with a hoodie on. Jimmy, thank you for coming. Sit in the front. Now we got to talk to you. I know you feel checked out. I know you feel like you're basically not on this team anymore. And you know what? Good for you. My advice is do not let the Niners pressure you into playing again this season. Okay? Just don't. They're trying to get you to practice this week. I have a feeling people are going to say you're feeling good. The doctors checked you out. Dude, do not play. You're gone. You're donezo. You need to get out of this building. You need to go back to the Patriots. Kyle never appreciated you. I don't really appreciate you either. I don't think you're that good. But someone thinks you're good. You think you're good. You got to protect yourself. You got to get the hell out of here. Coming back and playing a game, playing against Seattle week 17 for a team that's probably going to cut you in the offseason would be stupid. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it. Now, they might try to shame you into it and say that they've paid you all this money and yada, yada, yada. Here's what I think happened. You correct me if I'm wrong. Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking you hurt your ankle week 2. You missed 3 games. You came back as fast as you could. You didn't look good, but you played hurt. Got it more hurt. And really, we're starting to look at, like, am I going to have surgery for this team and this lost season? I'm guessing at that point, after the second injury, after Seattle, you and your representation went to John and Kyle. I'm guessing you said, look, it's hurt twice now. If you want Jimmy Garoppolo to come back again this season and play through it again, especially late in the season, where if he gets hurt a third time, then he really could need surgery and that could cost him money, affect his offseason. We need an assurance that he's going to be on this team in 2021. If he's going to sacrifice his body and put it on the line and play in games and play hurt, and games that don't matter, we need an assurance that he's going to be on this team next season because he's got all these outs in this contract. The cap's going down or at least not up. And we don't feel that secure about his spot. So tell us, he'll play if you say he's coming back. I'm guessing at what happened. Tell me if I'm wrong. Jimmy, am I wrong? Jimmy, am I wrong? Kyle, am I wrong? John, am I wrong? Oh, you're not saying. Okay, fine. You plead the fifth. Fine. So if he couldn't get an assurance that he'd be here next year, why would he play? I'm guessing you said, no, we can't tell you that, Jimmy. Can't give you that assurance. We don't know what's going to happen. We're not saying we won't have you next year, but we just don't know. Sorry. And I'm guessing Jimmy, you and your Don Yee, your agent, said, all right, well, okay, well, we're done. We're done this year. And if you don't like it, if you think we're dogging it, if you think, we're being unprofessional, cut us. Cut me. Send me back to New England. Trade me. Get me out of here. And I feel the same way. I feel the same way as you. You're always going to be the person who takes all the blame here. Until Kyle grows up a little bit, matures a little bit, the quarterback is always going to be the guy who takes all the blame on the 49ers. When you go back to New England, Bill Belichick's not going to give you that treatment, and whoever replaces you here is going to get so much criticism, dude. It's the way it goes. I don't know what it is, the fact that Niner fans feel entitled because they had Joe Montana and Steve Young, and they're like, it's been a long time. We need the greatest quarterback of all time on our team. Well, get out. Get out. Also, it's not just the fans. It's Kyle. It's Kyle. It's Kyle. He doesn't like you. It's pretty clear. So go somewhere that you liked. Jimmy, leave. You've done enough. Thank you very much. I hope to never see you again. I hope your life works out. Finally, John Lynch. Time to talk about you. So your starting quarterback just walked out. We're never going to see him again. You traded for him. Good try. It didn't work out. Might have worked out if Kyle Shanahan had liked him, but it didn't. And he doesn't. So we got to figure out your next move because you are on the hot seat, not Kyle. Kyle has a 6-year deal. You have a 5-year deal. He has more power than you. If you guys get this quarterback thing wrong this offseason, you're going to get fired first. Kyle could get fired eventually, but you're going to get fired first. If you take the wrong quarterback, if you have another situation where you take some bust like Solomon Thomas and Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes come a few picks later, you're screwed. You're never going to work in this industry again. You're going to go back to Fox if you're lucky. So you got to get this right. You are on the chopping block, not Kyle. So how do you get this right? Well, first of all, I know what you're thinking because you can't scout quarterback. No offense, but you're not a scout. It's not your background. So you're not going to feel real confident looking at these college quarterbacks and being like, well, this guy's better than that guy for these reasons. That's not your background. What you do is you trade for quarterbacks. You look at finished products or guys who at least shown something in the NFL, and you say, well, I feel much more confident scouting you because I've seen what you've done in this league. So you do with Jimmy. And you were close to being onto something with that. He's won a lot of games. It's a lot harder to draft a guy. But what are you going to do this year? Who are you going to trade for? You're not getting Matthew Stafford. Any new coach that goes in there is going to insist on keeping Matthew Stafford. Why would you go to Detroit if you didn't get to coach him? So you could go coach who? Who? So forget Stafford. What you're going to try to do, and I see it. I see it all over your face. I'm looking at your notes right there. You wrote his name down. You circled it 8 times. I'm looking at it. Carson Wentz. That's your move. You're going to try to trade for Carson Wentz. He's gotten benched. He was good a few years ago. Kyle Shanahan is on record saying he loved him in 2017. Just as Kyle Shanahan was on record saying he loved Jimmy Garoppolo when he was drafted in 2014. So you can say, hey, you said you liked him. You liked him then. I'm getting him for you. He was the number 2 pick in the draft. If you're a good coach, coach him up. Don't do it, John. Don't do it for a lot of reasons. One, Kyle is going to ride the fence on that one. He said he liked him in 2017. As soon as you force a quarterback on him, he's not going to like him. He's going to say, I don't like him anymore. I used to like him. I don't like him anymore. And again, he's not going to be invested. He's going to nitpick, and he's going to fail. Wentz, I'm talking. Don't make the same mistake where you trade for a guy and force him on Kyle Shanahan because Kyle will sabotage it, even if he doesn't mean to. Other than that, also, he's expensive. He's not young. He's had injuries. His teammates don't seem to like him. He seems aloof. He's very rich. Expensive. Did I mention expensive? You'd have to trade for him. You can do better. He's got an interception issue. He's got a turnover issue. That's something you got to fix because Kyle's not going to do anything. He doesn't think it's his issue. Look at him right now. He still doesn't think it's his issue. Yeah, you don't. So what are you going to do? Bring in another guy who throws like 25 picks a year and fumbles and is expensive? No, dude, don't do it. Here, I'm telling you what to do. Draft Kyle Trask. I'm making this easy for you, man. That's why I am quality control and you're not. All right? I know you're look, Trevor Lawrence, forget about him. Zach Wilson, forget about him. Those are the top 2 picks in the draft. Justin Fields, bust. Also, forget about him. Someone else is going to make that mistake. Your choice is Trey Lance or Kyle Trask. That's your choice. You draft Trey Lance, you will get fired before he develops into anything. That guy's a 2-year project. He's had 1 year of experience at North Dakota State. Hell of a runner. He could be a Wildcat quarterback right away, but he can't drop back and carve up the NFL anytime soon. So by the time he's 30, he might be an MVP passer. But you're going to be back in the booth by then. And again, the reason people are gaga over Lance is because they missed on Mahomes. And what you're thinking is, man, I missed on Mahomes. If I pass on Lance and he's the next Mahomes, I'm really screwed. He's not the next Mahomes. Don't chase the first mistake you made. I promise you he's not the next Mahomes. Mahomes started for multiple seasons and played very well, put up huge numbers in the Big 12. And not at Oklahoma, at like just, Texas Tech. Didn't win a lot, but he had Cliff Kingsbury as coach. Trey Lance, I don't know, man. He's not ready to start right away, not experienced enough. Kyle Trask is ready to start right away. He's not going to be, he may never win an MVP, but I think there's a fairly good chance he'll be no worse than the 3rd best quarterback from this draft. And that's what you got to look for because Wilson and Lawrence are not options for you. You're not going to get them. So who's number 3 and how can you get him? It's Trask. To me, Trask is Phillip Rivers with more mobility. Not the strongest arm in the world, but not an issue. Excellent downfield thrower, can make all the throws, has touch, uncanny ability, amounts of accuracy, and more mobile. than Phillip Rivers. Moves around the pocket instinctively without dropping his eyes, and is his own short yardage back. 3rd and 4, quarterback draw. Goal line, quarterback draw. He'll jump over the pile. So if you're looking for like an A- quarterback in the mid-first round, it's him. A guy who will not bust. If you're looking for the next Mahomes, you already missed that guy. You already passed on the first Mahomes. You can't find him in this draft. But you can get the next Phillip Rivers, a young Phillip Rivers. I'm telling you, he's the next Phillip Rivers. Draft him. It'll keep you employed. Do not fall for the Trey Lance fool's gold. Trey Lance needs to be a 2nd-round pick or a late first for a team that's willing to sit him for multiple years, like Jordan Love. He is this year's Jordan Love with more running ability and less passing ability. Because Jordan Love at least had 2 years of experience throwing and reading coverages and all that stuff, and Lance didn't. So Jordan Love went to the perfect spot. He can go to Green Bay and sit he's going to sit at least 2 years, maybe 3. Lance needs to do that too. So where would he go? Who's in that? He should go to like Atlanta. He should go to like Detroit. He should go and back up a quarterback who's like 35. A quarterback who's got a few years left. He should go back up Kirk Cousins. But start right away somewhere? I mean, yeah, you could do that if you want him to fail. Only way Trey Lance can start right away next season is if you make a New England Patriots style, Baltimore Ravens style quarterback run game. Kyle doesn't want to do that. You know he doesn't want. Kyle, do you want to do that? You've said you don't want to do that. You said that you were cutting Colin Kaepernick because you don't want to run the zone read. You don't want to have that kind of offense. Well, if John drafts Trey Lance, you got to do that. Or you sit him on the bench for 2 years and start who? Josh Rosen? Who? So I'm just saying, John, if you want to like make it in this industry, draft Kyle Trask. If you want to go back to broadcasting and screw over the Niners in the process, draft Trey Lance with the 8th pick. Draft him with the 8th pick and say, Kyle, make it work. Go for it. I freaking dare you. Guys, thank you so much for watching and attending this quality control meeting. You guys are all much smarter for coming. I didn't really get much out of this, but that's why I'm here to help you. So maybe someday you guys can help me. But for right now, the jacket is all I need. I feel pretty good in it. This is something for you guys to aspire to, the jacket. So I am going to go have lunch. I'll be back at 3:30 with the All 49ers Roundtable if you want to see what me and my colleagues think of you guys. We'll talk. But thank you so much for coming, and I will be back this afternoon. Take care.